The Outsiders is a young adult fiction novel written by S.E. Hinton. The book was released in 1967 and is about a 14-year-old kid named Ponyboy Curtis who lives with his two older brothers and is a member of a gang. One night, Ponyboy and his friend Johnny end up getting jumped. In order to save Ponyboy's life, Johnny kills one of the kids who's attacking them. They then end up running away and face a lot of troubles throughout the book. The Outsiders ended up becoming very popular, and on March 25th, 1983, it ended up getting its own movie. The movie was very popular and a lot of people got to see it. So is this movie worthy of the popularity it's received, or has it not stood the test of time? Let's see. Before we begin, there is one little detail that should be addressed. There are two versions of The Outsiders, the theatrical cut and an uncut version that was released called the complete novel. In order to be fair to the film, this will be a review of the complete novel, so that the director's vision will be easier to see. Now with that out of the way, let's start the review. The story stays mostly true to the source material, which is to the film's benefit. The reason this benefits the film is because it makes the film feel like it has the right amount of time that it needs to tell the story. The themes of the book are conveyed well, talking about how not all people have equal opportunities, how all people can have problems in their life, and the importance of believing in yourself. The tone is also kept consistent, making the film more moving and powerful. There is only one major problem with the story that probably should have been changed. In the book, when Randy and Ponyboy talk to each other, Randy talks about Bob's home life and how his parents gave him whatever he wanted. Randy was a good friend of Bob, who was also a fellow Soch. This ended up leaving Bob's life without structure, and is presumably what gave him motivation for his actions. But for some reason, this was left out of the movie, which is puzzling because the book makes Bob's character far more interesting and gives us more background details about him. That's the only weak point of the story, though. The rest uses its source material well and effectively. Now, let's move on to the next section. Whenever this movie is brought up to people, one of the first things they talk about is the cast. The majority of the cast ended up becoming very popular after their role in this movie. This isn't the case for everyone, but it is the case for a lot of them. The characters who were portrayed the best were Cherry, Dally, Johnny, and Soda Pop. The reason these characters were portrayed so well is because their actors do a good job at acting out their roles, and the characters were also kept similar to how they were in the book. That's not saying that the other characters were bad, it's just that these were the ones that were portrayed the best. Now on to the next section. The characters interact like real people and seem like a real group of friends. The dialogue also fits the characters, and not everyone has the same dialogue style. All the dialogue seems natural and like things that real people would say. Now, let's move on to the final section. The set design in this movie seems like a nice callback to the early 60s and late 50s. The reason the set design was done so well is because of how it is able to convey the time period through the cars and buildings that are surrounding the characters. In order to talk about the costumes, we need to talk about the color palette. The color palette in this film is mostly made up of neutral colors, with the exception of them using primary colors like red, yellow, and blue. The color palette ties in with the costumes as well, except only for the greasers. The Socs wear additional colors like green, purple, and more, and usually wear lighter colors. This shows a contrast between the Socs and the greasers. Now, it's time for the conclusion. The Outsiders is a faithful adaptation to the original book and is worthy of the praise it has received. It has a great cast, an engaging story, and wonderful set and costume design. If you like the book, I would definitely recommend it, and my final rating will be 4 out of 5 stars. I hope you have a great day. Bye!